Hey guys, sorry, I don't know where the fuck our guest is at right now. He decided just to not show up. I don't know. We'll see what happens with him. But we're just talking about sports and everything like that. So we saw like Chris Mack take what was it about the Little League? You can't bet on it or whatever. So yeah, I mean, it's probably wrong to talk about people's children. So I get that anyway. But yeah, no, we were talking about the Olympics opening ceremony where they show that Satanistic.
Version of
What did the Christians say? It was Jesus, but in a
dude, that was a
hor-
joke. That was horrible.
What do you mean? It was what do you mean?
And you know another thing was a joke. So usually opening ceremonies,
Yeah.
everyone walks around and they have all the countries in like alphabetical order or
Mm,
whatever.
mm.
Well, they had them on those boats, right?
Right.
LeBron James was standing like he was Thomas Jefferson or something like that. But supposedly, I saw some clips of people that were there, and they were charging like almost €1,000, for those tickets. And you couldn't see shit. Like there was like all this water was streaming up. It was raining. You could barely even see these boats come across. It was like terrible. Like whoever
Right.
thought of that idea, rather than just doing it in a stadium and have everyone walk around, that was a terrible idea as well. Yeah, and then of course the weirdo trannies and and yeah.
No, well, I had issues with like I seen like crazy shit. Like you might be able to help me with this. What was like the concept of that female boxer from what was it? God damn it! What was that country? Kazakhstan. What was her
Who
name?
knocked out that chick.
Yeah. The chick and she was like crying about it. She's like, "Oh, I've never been hit that hard." And then he was like, "Oh," I mean, she was like, "Oh, like I forgot what country it was from, but like she's filing a lawsuit now against J.K. Rowling and Elon Musk for supporting cyberbullying against her online. So I just don't get
Well,
it.
who knows? Because you go look at, like, I don't want to get into that stuff too much. You go look what's happening in England right now with that after that stabbing, right? And
Right,
it looks like there's two-tier policing on where they won't touch the certain minorities, and
right.
they'll go full on against the kind of like the white working class guys, right?
Oh,
So
why not? Yeah, they're safer to go against.
yeah. So, and it's like it's just like that just seems everything's upside down. Where it's, to me, like, I think you'll probably agree with me, it's more wrong. Somebody is probably biologically a man is beating up women in a ring than like some people just say this, like, go after her online or something, you know. And in Canada, do they have all this stuff like internet? Like the government basically now like basically monitors the internet in
Well,
Canada,
isn't
so
it
you really can't say any of that stuff there because they'll go after you big time.
no? Isn't it Britain? Aren't they arresting people who are protesting against the Islamic
Yeah,
people or
yeah. Have you
whatever
seen?
right now? That's recently happening in the British riots.
Yeah. And that's another issue is that they had these grooming gangs,
Yeah.
where these Islamic guys were raping little girls and stuff like that. And then these guys get like 24 months parole, and then some guy who has like an anti-Islam sign gets like 4 years in prison.
No, it's
Like,
crazy.
crazy.
Have you looked into like what's happening with Tommy Robinson and all that shit?
Oh yeah. I've known about Tony Robinson. Like, I watched his interview. What happened? He happened to him in Canada. The police took. Do you see that when he went to
No,
Canada?
no, I did not see that.
Oh, he
No.
went to Canada and he was speaking in Calgary. And remember, Calgary, Alberta is like the most conservative state. Like, that's like the Texas or Alabama, of Canada.
Yeah.
And anyhow, they basically arrested Tommy Robinson for no reason, and they just held him so he couldn't go to other cities to speak. They were like, part of your agreement here of your parole or whatever you want to call it is you have to report to the station every day, right? So he had, and then finally
I don't get that.
I think a lot of the cops said like this is BS because they knew it was politically motivated, and they let him go, and he was able to go to Toronto and other places.
No.
He did an interview with Jordan Peterson, like talking
Right.
about stuff. So, and the thing about him is when you actually look into him, he's a lot less, I guess you could say, extreme than you think.
No,
You know?
well, this is my crazy thing. Is just like because you heard of Nick Fuentes, right, and all that shit.
Yeah.
Nick Fuentes is like anti-Jew and all. It's like pro-white, completely white. Even though he's not even actually white, he's like a mixed dude. He's a mixed mutt, and he's young. He's like, oh, pro-white, fuck the Jews and shit like that. And I know you're Jewish, and he's shitting on Tommy Robinson for starting another false flag or whatever that is, convincing Britain that it's the Muslims who are convincing Stitch so that we can get going into like.
Well, and Tommy Robinson's come out as pretty pro like Israel and stuff
Yeah,
like
no,
that.
yeah, because he's worn IDF shirts in the past, and he's saying like because the British government right now is actually anti-Israel, and now these riots who are pro-Israel, anti-Muslim should entice them to want to start supporting Israel again because they recently just stopped like sending like arms and or money towards Israel for their attack on Gaza or whatever.
Well, like they're doing that stuff. I saw that British minister talk, like where like if Israel bombs a school, they're like, "Oh my God, this is horrible! They bombed a school." Well, meanwhile, like there's like a shit ton of munitions in the bottom of the school. There's
that's what I'm saying. Like I'm sorry, but like these
guys,
motherfuckers are using these places as fucking like ammo
that's been
depots
for years, man. And it's not like Israel doesn't make mistakes, but I don't. I've gotten really, I have to say, extreme. Remember when we first talked last August when you first had me on your show? I was kind of in the middle on it. I didn't really want to talk about it. And then, of course, October 7th happened 2 months later. And I have to say, I'm pretty much like a Shuli on Israel now. I'm full on, like, just go in there and turn the place, Gaza, into like a parking lot. Sorry. It's just like, because the problem you have is this isn't a place like, okay, I think it's different with Iran. Because I think in Iran, actually, most of the people in Iran don't like the regime. But they're just they can't really do anything about it, right? I always tell, why did that guy from Gaza, one of their leaders, military leaders, get killed in Iran? I'm sure some Iranians ratted out where he was.
Of course they did.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And in Gaza, none of these guys are getting ratted out. And I think like all those polls pre the October 7th showed that, like 70% of the population there supported, Hamas. And the Hamas is a little different government than other governments because it's a terrorist organization. It's not like it's not like you're voting for, I don't know, the Labor Party or in England or a conservative party in Spain or something. It's a little bit different. And they were given tons of money, Gaza throughout the year. What happened? Because that place, even before the bombing, looked like crap. So.
I just like, I don't know. I just don't like it because like you're starting to see a lot of Americans nowadays become anti-Semitic. It's within the Democratic Party. Like, why did Josh Shapiro not get the nod for VP?
Well, it's because I know if our other guest is in here, he probably disagree with us take, but I think it's because Michigan's a swing state. It's got a large Muslim population, and there's no way they would want a Jewish person on the ticket.
Who's pro-Israel?
Yeah, who's pro? Yeah. So that would have been part of it, and so what else was I going to say about that too? Yeah, and I've seen it. Like, we'll go back to our like a day. Like I was when I was still on the Patreon for MLC. Yeah. Right. Somebody said something kind of anti-Semitic in the chat, right? And I did. And all I said was like, "You're an idiot" or something, And then 2 or 3 guys started ganging up on me saying, "We know what you are." And I'm like, if you're going to try to shame me, the fact that I'm Jewish or half Jewish, and if you knew who my grandfather was and his first family died in the Holocaust and then he had to come back, and rebuild his whole life, and you're trying to shame me for that, you can get the hell out of my face. I'm not being shamed over that. But now people, I think the problem is they can just say this stuff freely, and nothing happens because the thing that you actually get in trouble for is the Islamophobia thing,
Well, I mean, isn't Hitler being praised now on Twitter or X or I've been seeing that a lot of people saying we should forgive what we've said about Hitler and the Nazis because
I know some of those rallies, they you see people doing the Zig Heil and stuff like that at some of those rallies. You see pictures of that too, Yeah. And I don't know, man. I just don't think, like, I look at of British society as being those soccer, guys, working class guys, drinking pints, going to games,
No, I get why they're angry.
Stuff like that. I just don't know how this is part of your society.
No, but I mean, I get why they're angry. They're angry at like mass illegal immigration. I get that. Like,
no, I'm saying I don't get the other side of it. Like, I don't understand why.
I think they're idiots. I think Tommy Robinson. I'm not even like the other side, like Muslims. Like, oh, you gotta hate Muslims. Like, I get that. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't think these people hate Muslims. I think these people just hate in general just mass immigration that's illegal?
No, I don't. I don't think they are, but I think on the other side, you look at them. There's a lot of those kind of hippie socialist type, white kids that are on the pro whatever.
Oh yeah,
the pro Muslims. I don't even want to call it that. You know, so and like I watch a lot of these food and travel vlogs. It's kind of what I have on while I work all day, and there's like a lot of times when these guys go around these cities now in England. Yeah, the guy actually one guy I watch. He's called the McMaster, and he'll see some English guy or woman like on the street,
yeah,
homeless and be like, well, it's a shame. He'll be like, shame on you. And he'll do it a very political correct way. Shame on you for like the people, who I'm talking about, up in hotels, and then allowing your own people to like sleep on the street like this.
right.
Well, Alex Stein went to that. I think it's called the Belvedere. It's a famous hotel in
Yes.
New York right now, where all illegal immigrants and stuff. And he went there, and he had that. He had his husband, the black guy, with him. The guy, or not husband, the guy who says that to his wife's boyfriend. I don't know if you know that shtick he does.
I don't know.
And so anyhow, it's this guy. He's this big fat black guy, and he has man boobs and stuff, and so he's shirtless. And he was like, "This guy's homeless. He used to have a drug problem. Let him into the hotel," and they wouldn't let him in. And then Alex Stein starts yelling at him, "Hey, you have all these illegal immigrants in there. You won't let like an American in," and stuff. So he's doing it in a joking manner, but he's trying to show like that's kind of what's going on, So.
Well, here's an interesting take from somebody. In Ireland, we've had enough. No more mass immigration. Here's something. Most of my family is from immigration into this country that I live in right now. But back in the day, immigration was in the aspect of you need to know this, you need to know this. You have to have American values in place or we'll instill them in you. So when you come into our country, what's up?
It was the same thing in Canada.
Yeah. Like we'll instill this in you. So when you come to our country legally, finally, that you can implement that into your own children and continue the American persona that we want to portray onto the populace. And I think that has gone a lot in modern day countries. They no longer want to actually like instill completely into an immigrant how you should think or feel, because you need to do that when you're having people come into your country, because you want them to somewhat correlate into your country. You know what I'm saying? Like you need them somewhat of what you think, so it can be cohesive. But
here's another interesting point. You're talking about integrating or whatever. Like both my grandparents on my mom's side were Polish Jews, and then my dad's side, my grandmother's Austrian, my grandfather's from Bosnia. He was probably Croatian because that Skarica last name is more Croatian, But anyhow, he was born in Bosnia because that was all just Yugoslavia anyhow. But anyhow, my dad was like, they were always speaking English around the house,
Right.
There was no Polish flags, no Austrian, Yugoslav flags. When you even like Latinos, I know you're half Latino, but I think you're more. Yeah.
I'm not. I'm Peruvian.
You're Peruvian. Well, that's kind of, but yeah, it's not American. But like you go watch the Copa America, and you're just kind of like everyone try to get away from these countries because they're poor and they're corrupt, and they come to America, and then what? You still got your Venezuela flag. No,
I do like that though. You're showing respect to your heritage, but as long as you like showcase the nation flag you live in more than your, it's proud to be. I'm proud to be Peruvian. You know what I'm saying? Like I am proud of that.
Peru's a great country, man.
No, yeah. Well, let's read another thing.
I saw a comment of Vancouver. I'm not a Vancouver fan, and that has nothing to do with the mixed races. I used to go there a lot because I do a lot in junior mining.
Yeah.
No offense to Spellbound if you're from there. It is the most overrated, most expensive city. It's very pretty, surrounded by mountains, but
is it French?
For what it costs to live there, it is the most overrated city. And I went there twice a year for a period of like 10 years straight. So I never want to go there again. Just a great Asian food. I will say that, but it's just to me, it's like, I don't know, $2 million buys you a dump in Vancouver right now. So, and I mean a dump by like a small little nothing house. I know that my house has been called a dump by somebody, but yeah.
Well, I do want to.
I can guarantee you, with all the renovations I've done, in my house just to say like
I can already tell, bro. That shit is
no,
nice
no,
as
no,
fuck.
no. I know you can see the way it looks. Like
I see two bitches in the back already about
oh
to
yeah,
kiss
there
each
you go.
other.
Well, I wish they were real.
Oh yeah, right. No, but I want to address this.
And, that's Vancouver. But yeah, I think I think the problem with I think is that's it, integration. Because I see that in Canada when I see, these little communities too. They're there and they don't integrate. And then there's also the aspect where, I got these two women behind me. In Western society, girls are liberated and they can do what they want. And they're not. I don't think in a Western country you should be covered up in a burqa. Sorry, I just don't think that. I don't care.
No.
If you disagree with me. It's just like if you want to do that, go back to Yemen or Saudi Arabia or wherever sorry, man. Just that's my opinion. So and see what changed my attitude on it was my dad had this. It's just my dad was in politics for a while. He was conservative.
Yeah.
He was in office from about 1995 to about 2000, about 1999, 2000. So he had this kid. His name was Waleed. He's now a very famous lawyer in Canada. But anyhow, he was a nice guy. He worked on my dad's campaign. He worked in the office, and he married this. He's from Egypt. This really like beautiful Egyptian girl. She was smart. She went to law school with him. As soon as they get married, we walk into their apartment. We used to hang out and talk to them, and she was dressed like in normal attire. We go in there. She's like in full burqa, like serving us. And I'm looking at my dad, like, and this is pre 9/11. I think this was like about 2000. And I was like, what the hell is going on? This girl went to college, got this education, like for what?
To still be systematically put upon by by the culture she's in. I don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah. And like with him, like I said, he married this attractive, intelligent woman. And like, why are you doing that? You basically have made her your servant. I
don't understand. But like with Tommy Robinson, so I get what people are saying. He's like, I'm gonna play devil's advocate because I've been hearing this a lot online. Because the stabbing was by like a guy who was a Rwandan, right? Who was like Christian, who had been in the country. He's like second generation,
Yeah.
And then like right off the bat, it's Muslim this, Muslim that, and then Tommy Robinson, who is a person who's supported by the Jewish establishment or whatever, to say, hey, the Muslims have been here too long, blah blah blah, and they start rioting, they start fucking with mosques and other shit like that.
But I also think,
and the Muslims are like, oh, it's not us. You guys are trying to push an anti-Muslim narrative because of the Jews. Like that's what I'm trying to get at. Because I'm not Jewish or Muslim, so I'm trying to like understand. Like
I think an issue a lot of people had with it, and I had with it, is right away I knew something was up because they would not detail the guy's background.
Right?
They were just like, you knew it wasn't like they were acting like he was some Welsh boy. You knew it wasn't some football playing,
hooligan.
Yeah, hooligan. Whose family's been in Wales for 1,000 years.
Who's a fan of the Leeds,
or who's a fan of Cardiff or something? Or he's like a Bale fanatic or something.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Right. So and then I know he is technically British and he's second generation, but it just looks like again he's like some weird guy who's not really integrated.
No, he's not. Yeah.
So
like.
So hey, even if Tommy Robinson is, who cares, dude? What people don't understand is that when it comes to that, you look at what's going on in the Middle East and Muslim. Look, like, what do you think's going to happen? Like if say, because Muslims don't they have huge families and they become a huge percentage of the population.
I heard they're inbred too.
Society, if it's that large, is going to be that great. Sorry, it's not going to be great, man.
No, because there's a lot of inbred in it, a lot of inbreeding.
Well, I'm talking more about Sharia law and stuff like that.
But there's a lot of inbreeding and there's a lot of like mental capacity deformities in that aspect.
I've seen those studies about I think it's the Pakistani community where a lot of it, there are a lot of, and look, you don't want to come off as whatever racist, but
I'm not. It's just facts.
Just go look at some of the research, So, and by the way, we have that here in the Bahamas. There's a little island here called Spanish Wells, and it's got maybe 1,000 people, and they're all like pretty purebred whites from like Holland and England. Like they're super blonde hair, blue eyes, stuff like that. And because they live on this small little enclave, like this little island here, they they marry their cousins and stuff. And I know and I like going there because it's very clean and everything works, right? And it's very rich. So it's a nice change of pace from maybe the regular island. But you see these retarded kids there all over the
place. Well, I want to dive in deeper into that because like then you look at the Kamala Harris campaign, right? And then you see how like Josh Shapiro, like I'm not kidding you, Josh Shapiro I think would have won her the election instantly because of Pennsylvania, because of those states, and like you know what I'm saying, like he can just relate so much to like the middle class and so much more, you know. And also wasn't he the governor of Pennsylvania? Or, I forgot, he has some ties to Pennsylvania, I forgot, but they said no because he was a Jew and because he was supportive of Israel. And it's just like, how much have we allowed this anti-Jewish Muslim rhetoric and or party to start infiltrating our own Democratic parties to the point where they're starting to influence certain wings of the same bird? I'm like, dude, they are influencing, man. It's crazy. They were able to get her to get away from Josh Shapiro towards Tim Walz. I'm like,
the thing about it too is, you know, with the whole Israel thing, and they say it's genocide and this and that. It's like, dude, the Gaza Strip population has tripled. You know, since like in only 30 years. So genocide when a population triples, you know,
right?
And then you know, and then also like look at all these countries in the Middle East again, like Saudi Arabia, like you know, like Iran. Look how they treat their own people and with human rights abuses and stuff like that, and that all gets turned a blind eye on. Like no one ever talks about, you know, the Turkish Armenian genocide, you know, which was, you know, basically perpetrated by, you know, whatever, you know, like,
right.
you know, so like, you know, so it's just like, I just think that gets a little extreme. I'm like, to me, what's going on there, that's a war. And we've become soft in that, you know, the English firebombed Dresden. That's that famous Churchill quote, "Are we met? Are we peace?" That's where that comes from, you know, after they did that. Well, I think we forget about this is what you have to do to win a war. Like, it's kind of like, this is a war and we're just going full blow out. And yeah,
like, you can't care for killing children in Gaza. Like, I'm sorry,
yeah,
like that's part of war.
That's
I'm
part
like,
of war.
and they're putting their
how many
military ammo depots in children's hospitals, whatever. Like,
how many kids got killed in London and Berlin during World War II?
Nazi, during the Blitzkrieg.
Yeah. So, you know, and those bombings back then, they were, oh, sorry, my long hair.
No, you're good, man.
They were 100% perpetrated at you know, civilian populations. You know, they were just like, we're going to make the civilians' life a hell, and that's how we're going to make them surrender.
You know? Hating Muslims because they believe in the worst ripoff of the Torah is dumb. Believe what you want, just don't move in next door and behave like it's 800 AD. Okay. I don't know if that was a
well, because you know, Muslims do believe
I don't know what the fuck that was, but
they do believe
uncertainty. You sound kind of stupid, but I appreciate you.
I know what he's saying. I know what he's saying.
I
know what he's saying, because the Quran, Jesus is one of the prophets, right? He's not, obviously Muhammad is the main prophet,
right.
So they believe in aspects of these other religions, you know.
Okay.
But then, you know, they have their own, and he's just saying they're behaving like it's the dark ages when they move in, or some of them are, you know. Yeah. That's what he's trying to say.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah. That's what he's trying to say, you know. So, you know,
the ends. Hang on. Here's another one. The ends don't justify the means. You can't really say firebombing children in Gaza today is fine because of what the RAF did 80 years ago. That's a crazy point of view. That's a logical fallacy.
No, I would say it's because they got attack perpetrated on them, and then now this is their response. So, here's another thing: don't start wars. You can't win. You know, that
is true. I actually I heard that multiple times from multiple people who are anti-Jewish. They said. Don't start shit.
Learned that twice, you know.
Like I get it. Like I don't know why the Hamas did that. I don't understand that.
You know, there's those things. It's a false flag. It's this and that. But my issue is if you just look at like the actual result of it, dude. It's like, there were people in the streets cheering and yelling when they were dragging those
Oh,
girls
those
through.
bodies. Yeah, I saw that when they had that
So
one Enoch girl, where that German Israeli girl with her brains, and her arm broken like in 5 different places. I saw that video.
yeah,
It's disgusting.
yeah. So it's just like obviously you can always say two wrongs don't make a right, this and that, but I think ultimately you could say that argument. You just don't start a war, you can't win. And you knew when they did that, you were like, okay, you know what Israel's response is going to be. Like, this is why, is this a shock? You
I'm
knew that this was what's going to happen, you
so,
know?
so, so I'm gonna be a little critical of the Jewish movement, though. I am disturbed to some aspect that like the British, they just hired that new prime minister or whatever the fuck he is, or president.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
forgot what
he's
he
a
was.
Labour Party.
He's anti-Israel. He's anti-Jew,
Yeah, yeah,
and he stopped funding Israel with their war with Hamas, right?
yeah, yeah.
And then, like literally a week later, this happened. Then Tommy Robinson's promoting anti-Muslim rhetoric while promoting, and he is a Jew sponsored type of personnel, because I've seen the pictures and videos of him supporting Israel and
Yeah, yeah,
dying.
like, I'm not getting
It's
into
very convenient that like this happened, so they're taking advantage of it because Britain is an important part with supporting that movement, supporting Israel. Like, I don't know. It's very interesting to me that you see this type of stuff happening because Britain refused to start supporting Israel. Now all this shit's happening against Britain that's pro-Israel, anti-Muslim, and then it's like, hey,
I
what do you have to
agree,
do?
but I think, like, look, again, you were talking off air about how, like, you were interested in me talking a little economics because you don't know much about
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think this all delves down to is, okay,
The
obviously there's
economics.
serious race problems or, immigration problems, but because of what's happened in the last few years after COVID, with all the money they printed and spent, and it caused all this inflation, right? It's like working class people are like pissed off, like you said, they can't afford to go to McDonald's to get a
Yeah, they
hamburger.
can't. They're doing a $5 meal now, and they're not making it. Yeah,
You go to, like a McBack and fries is $10, and
yeah,
that's a lot of money for someone who's on minimum wage or something.
yeah.
So, and the whole point of that stuff was, like 40 years ago, you get that for $1, So because of all the inflation, people are like frustrated. Their standards of living are lower. One thing I talked about, like I'll show you the link off air. I do these walks on the beach where I do the videos for my website and stuff. Is I talk about housing costs are so high. You know this, you're a young guy. I don't know if you rent or own.
No, trust me, I know, bro. It's rough.
Yeah. And
It's
then
rough right
interest
now.
rates have gone up. So working class people, like I was talking about Vancouver. Well, Toronto, the average house price is like 1.5 million. And now interest rates have gone basically from 2% to 7% on like a 5 or 10-year mortgage.
Yeah.
So people can't afford that 1 million anymore. Your interest payments goes from 20 grand to 70 grand, So, and then so all of these things. And I think this is just an excuse for these kind of people who are frustrated over that their standard of living's doing poorly and they're doing poorly, to kind of get triggered and riot. Because, by the way, there were race riots in the UK in the early 80s. And that was against like the Jamaican, that Caribbean kind of, Indian immigration then, because a lot of people came from the colonies, right? Yeah. But why did it happen? Because again, in the late 70s, early 80s, Britain had double-digit unemployment, double-digit inflation. So you don't get these things, and they can say right now that unemployment rate's low and everything's great, but the cost of that. Why did Labor win so big? In Canada, Trudeau is going to get ousted, huge.
You think so?
Oh yeah, he's losing by like 20 points in the polls. He's done.
Really?
What happened to the Conservatives in England is going to happen to Trudeau in Canada, and it's the cost of living crisis. It's that people feel like like they're falling behind, and they're becoming like paupers. And it's like a house right now is something only a rich person could own.
Right, and that should be just for anybody, honestly. Not anybody, but what do you mean? Like middle class to upper.
The middle class. Well, the analogy I make in this video is, my ex-girlfriend was from Colombia.
Yeah.
And when she had a little apartment that cost like $200 a month or something, because the average Colombian makes like $500 a month, right? And then I was like I was like, well, I bet you could buy a nice little apartment in Colombia for 50 grand or something, right? So I was looking at it and I was shocked. I was like, all these apartments are like $300,000. And I'm like, how can the average Colombian buy it? So then I came up with this analogy that just like in South America, which is like either there's rich or poor.
Yeah.
We're increasingly becoming like that as well, you know?
Hey, here's something I have an issue with real quick. I'm gonna play this out. Since the lockdowns, everything went south. That is
Yep.
not true.
Yeah,
Do you
no,
agree
no,
with
man,
that?
he's right because that's
In what aspect? What does that mean? It's very vague.
they printed all this money to pay for all this stuff. And,
Okay.
Milton Friedman once said that inflation is a monetary phenomenon, right? And
Yeah.
that money filters into the system later. So the cost of everything then went higher. You can't print trillions of dollars and just think nothing was. That's what they thought.
I mean, that's what I mean.
They
What
thought
do you
interest rates were
expect?
going to stay at zero, costs were going to stay down because there was a short-term deflationary effect when people had to stay in their house. They
Right.
weren't going out, they weren't spending, whatever, right? They were given stimulus checks.
I mean, shouldn't we be on the gold standard? I mean, would that happen if we were on the gold
No,
standard?
because the gold, yes, because I mean, the gold standard means that the government wouldn't spend any money.
Exactly. Why are we off that then? I don't get that shit.
Because governments want to print and spend and promise people crap so they win elections. And then the same people who want the free crap, the poor people, when all the prices of everything they own goes up, they're like, "Why does this go up?" It's like, dude,
that's what pisses me off is because like that actually kind of like that issue what they just said stems from the gold standard, and then you kind of like bring it back more. Why are we off the gold standard? Then if the gold standard would negate that issue, you know,
yeah,
like
sure.
why is the U.S. of A. off the gold standard? That's what I want to kind of dive into a little bit. Do you know more about that? Because I'm kind of like,
well, no. What happened was in the '60s, we're in a similar time frame to now, in that gold was linked at $35 an ounce. So what Roosevelt did to get out of deflation, because deflation was bad because prices of everything were going down,
right?
Banks were collapsing, real estate was collapsing, everything was collapsing. He basically upped gold from like $20 an ounce to $35 an ounce overnight, right? So that basically increased kind of the money supply overnight. And he actually made it illegal to own gold. And the reason he did that is people are hoarding their money and they're just buying gold and hoarding it, and they're not spending in the economy. So you may disagree with him. I disagree with him doing it, but that's the reason behind him doing it. So then, he started the New Deal. That was kind of the infancy of these government programs.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. And then they expanded, during Kennedy. No, Kennedy not so much, but after him, what's his name? Lyndon Johnson.
Yeah, Lyndon B. Johnson.
Lyndon Johnson did the Great Society, which was really expanding the welfare state, right? Plus, he was the one who really aggressively expanded the war in Vietnam.
Yes,
so that meant they were spending a lot of money, they were printing more money. So all of a sudden, inflation started in the early '70s to really pick up. So they had to get off because the whole point of the gold standard was to restrict the government from spending. So they were like, we have to get off this because the money supply and everything is too big. And gold traded offshore in France and Europe and stuff. Right. Gold's up to $100 an ounce, and they got it fixed at 35. So it wasn't going to work. So then they did that. But ever since they've done that, they've just been able to print and spend money as long as they want. And that's why the debt to GDP in the U.S. is 120%. It's $35 trillion, which is unsustainable. Like one thing I was going to tell the guest that was supposed to come on.
Yeah, that fucking loser.
Was
fuck you, Major.
I think it's shameful that we're at the top of the economic cycle. I mean, we're still having an expanding economy.
Right.
That the deficit is $2 trillion and 7% of GDP. I think that's shameful because even Keynes, he was the John Maynard Keynes. He was the guy who came up with the idea of deficit spending after the Great Depression, because he said what the government should do is spend. Hoover Dam was it was a government program.
It was, yeah.
So his idea was the government should spend during the down times to kind of prop up the economy. But he also said, Keynes, which they've betrayed, that in the good times, the government should be running surpluses and save to again spend in those down times, right? So but now we just taxes. We just so we just like print and spend, And there's actually a funny saying that the Democrats tax and spend, and the Republicans. Now the Democrats are taxing, borrowing, and spending. And by the way, this issue I'm talking about, the debt, that's the biggest thing, because that's what will destroy.
Hang on. Give me 1 second. I got Richard on the line. Hey, sir. Where are you at, man?
Who is this?
This is Maxwell Ransom. We're Lil Mur. We're going to do a show at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Did you send me the link?
Yeah, on your Twitter, sir.
On my Twitter?
X account?
Okay, let me see here. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead and check. Yeah, sorry.
Let me, yeah, I was wondering. I didn't know. Okay, so, let me see here. I see you on here. Little X, so we still go. Okay, so, we want to do it right here?
Yes, sir. That's the account. Yes, sir.
All right, let's do it.
All right, hop on in.
Hop on?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're waiting for you. We're running the show right now. We're talking about economics with the debt and economic status right now.
Okay, entering the studio.
Do you need me to send it to your email by any chance or no?
I mean, if you could send it to my Sapperfi, SAPPERFI at AOL.com, that'd be great.
All right, hang on. Let me do that again real quick. So say it slower for me, sir.
It's SAPPERFI at AOL.com.
Oh, gotcha. Right here. Okay, cool. All right, yeah, I'll send it to you right now. Okay, sir?
Thanks.
Yep. All right, bye-bye.
Okay, I said I was going to jump off at 6, but I'll go to 6:30. That's fine. You know,
That's perfect, bro.
I'll go for another half an hour. That's fine. So,
all right.
And if anyone goes to my new YouTube channel, it's YouTube/@a Scott Day. That's like stock chart of the day. So S Scott, like Scotland, Scott Day. I talk about a lot of these things.
All right, I gotta take a piss. You do your thing real quick.
I'll talk by myself. Yeah, that's fine. I talk about a lot of these things. I talk about the debt. I talk about the big term interest rate cycles. I know this sounds kind of boring for one of these podcasts, but this is the kind of stuff I talk about. And I know I had a certain somebody on the internet saying all this stuff about me. But if you watch these videos, you see I really know what I'm talking about. I'm like a market historian. You know, I have a good grasp of things. But the most interesting is what you got to understand is all empires die because of debt. The Roman Empire did it. You know, they debased the Roman coins so bad there was only like a percentage of silver and other metals left in the coins. You know. And then the UK was bankrupt after World War II. So France, Spain, all those other empires, same thing, piled up too much debt and went bankrupt. So that's what always happens. And the US is doing the same thing right now. And again, like because we were talking about these other things, but I try to get back to this is the major issue because if this debt crumbles the economy, and we've seen it happen in places like Greece and Argentina and Venezuela. And don't think it can't happen here just because we're a much richer country. And if that, Argentina after World War II was the third richest country in the world. It was Canada, the States, and Argentina. And then Argentina went into this big socialist rampage and, ended up defaulting on debts, having massive hyperinflation for decades, et cetera, et cetera. So it ruins your standard of living, it ruins your economy, and it causes like social unstrife. And in fairness, the only guy who talked about it, and I saw it after Trump had that assassination attempt, he said the first thing he said in his speech when Kennedy came on stage was the biggest threat to our country is the national debt. And I was like, right away, I'm Canadian, I can't vote in the elections. Right away, I was like, I'm Kennedy man. Like that, he was the only guy even talking about this, So Trump doesn't talk about it. Trump says drill, baby, drill. Like, that's the solution, The Democrats don't talk about it because the deficit is huge right now.
Hang on, I gotta fucking get this guy in here real quick. This dude.
Yeah, no problem, man.
I'm trying, bro.
I think I did pretty well for talking by myself. Maybe I bored everybody to death talking economics. So
hang on, I'm gonna say send it to you. He's like, here's my email. I already sent his email.
This guy is hilarious.
Sent it to you. Where's Chow at, bro? That's what I'm wondering, man. I got Trump live. There's Richard Ojeda. There he is.
What's
Sir. Holy fuck, there you are.
Yeah, I didn't know what that was. When you was calling, I was like, what the hell? Who's calling me from Twitter?
It's your boys.
What's going on, guys? Who?
How you doing? I'm David, by the way. Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you too.
Yes,
no, we're right now talking about the economic structure of what's going on with the USA, what's affecting What were we saying?
I'm
Like,
talking about, just so you know, and I'll be very blunt to start here. Politically, I'm like a libertarian. Okay, just so you know, to start. I'm Canadian, but I live in the Bahamas, right? So I'm talking about my issue right now with both parties is the national debt, and Kennedy has said this, is the biggest threat to the country, in my opinion. It's 35 trillion, it's 120% of GDP. The deficit is 2 trillion this year in an economic expansion. And if that interest payment gets too large, you can't have a military, you can't have Social Security, you can't have any of those things. And
Well,
I don't
what we also can't have is somebody who has already given $7.8 trillion to the filthy rich and corporations, and he's planning on he's actually promising to do it once again if he gets elected again. So
yeah, but the Democrats are running a $2 trillion deficit. So it's not, it's like this, you know, and I know the deficit did shrink under Clinton, but that was because we had a massive economic boom. It's happened under both party, Obama, Trump, you know, Harris. It's expanded exponentially.
well,
And
you know, but also President Biden has actually reduced the deficit once again. You know, that's what Democrats do. Republicans run that shit through the roof.
I agree. The Republicans borrow and spend, but the deficit is $2 trillion this year. It's actually back to the 2021 level. So, like, and again, this is an economic expansion. You got to, like, when there's a recession, there's always a recession. Doesn't matter who's president. Recessions are a natural fact of the economic cycle. Expenditures go up and revenues go down. So if this deficit goes, look, I'm just telling you, I do this for a living. Like, 120% of GDP is high. You get to that 140, 150%, that's where places like Greece, you know, and all these countries get into really, really, really big problems economically, especially because interest rates are never going back to zero. That's never happening again, you know? So this interest payment is now $1 trillion a year on the debt. And I agree with you on the Republicans, by the way. This is why I am kind of a libertarian, is because they borrow and spend. They talk like they're small government people, and they're not. So there you go.
Airborne. I'm not arguing with you.
Yeah. So, okay, Mayor.
Anyway, Mr. Ojeda, thank you for coming on, sir. We appreciate you coming on right now. We were recently talking about, have you seen what's going on with the Tommy Robinson shit right now in UK? Have you been watching that at all by any chance? The riots with the Muslim Brotherhood and all that good stuff, or no?
No, I haven't been paying attention to that.
Okay. So have you been paying attention? I'm sure you have, with the most recent like political cycle of the parties right now pushing really how, you know, what was I going to say? Because you posted the JD Vance thing, right? The picture about him being weird. I saw that. I kind of liked it because he was wearing that communistic shirt, you know, in college and everything like that. What's your take right now on just that campaign and just a Republican campaign? Because I want to get deeper with you on the Democratic campaign, but right now, what's your take on the Republican campaign and how they're pushing their narrative and how they're approaching people?
I think that they're really, you know, they're outside the box. JD is probably the worst vice presidential.
I don't know why they chose him. I don't get that.
Well, the reason why they chose him is because Eric and Don Jr. wanted to tap into Peter Thiel's money, who's a billionaire that actually put $15 million towards J.D. Vance's campaign. And, you know, J.D. Vance is he is the perfect definition of a two-faced person. You know, it's like Lindsey Graham. You know, there was a time when they were willing to speak the truth about Donald Trump, but then now, because J.D. Vance has offered a position, now all of a sudden Donald Trump is a great leader and is just an amazing person. And the truth is that it's absolute bullshit. He is the worst friggin' selection. He makes Dan Quayle look like a friggin', you know, a door kicker and a barn burner, you know.
I think Vivek would have been better, honestly, as a pick.
Anybody would have been better. J.D. Vance, once again, Donald Trump is not happy about J.D. Vance.
He's weird.
The people in his campaign are already coming out telling us that friggin' Donald Trump does not like him. I mean, the guy sits and says that drag queens are going to be the destruction of America, and then 2 days later, there's pictures of him dressed in drag.
Didn't he also on his blog say that J.D. Vance said he wished he was a woman? I saw that also. Like,
I haven't seen that, but I mean,
you should see it, bro. It's crazy. It's
I mean,
crazy.
he's the worst person that Donald Trump could have selected. And there's a lot of people that are saying that after the Democratic National Convention, he's probably going to dump J.D. Vance, which would be great. Which, of course, at the end of the day, I don't really give a shit who runs with Donald Trump. But, because I guarantee you, if Donald Trump dumps him, is he going to finally start speaking the truth about how he really feels about Donald Trump? Because once again, what they said before is exactly how they feel.
Right.
They're just willing to.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir. I do want to ask you a quick question because
Okay.
you are military personnel.
Yep.
And I do want to ask you this because and I want you to answer honestly as a man of integrity because I know you are of one.
Right.
Because you are pro-military. I'm from a military family. So is Chow. ATP's family's from the Holocaust. So we're all pro, respect here.
Yeah.
So when how can you get behind a campaign where Tim Walz has said that he's carried weapons into war or whatever the fuck it is?
And
he's had multiple people from his unit say that he dipped before they went to Iraq because he didn't want to go there. Like, what is your take on that?
Bullshit. Absolute bullshit.
I want because I hear the mainstream. Let me finish real quick. So I hear the mainstream Republican Party, and I see it on TV, on YouTube videos and ads saying he's a man without valor. J.D. Vance said because J.D. Vance said he went to Afghanistan or where the fuck it was as a comms person. He's saying that Tim Walz is faking his valor. He's doing this. He did do his serving time and whatnot, regard, but he didn't actually go into war, and he actually left his unit before they went into Iraq. So what's your take on that?
Well, first and foremost, if you look at the timing, his unit deployed to Iraq almost a year after he got out of the military. Now, understand that he served 24 years, and the only reason why he got out was because his constituents were telling him they wanted him to run for Congress. So that's when he made the decision to do that. Let me tell you something. He could have retired at the 20-year mark. He stayed for 24 years. He occupied the role of a command sergeant major. J.D. Vance is trying to find something he can throw in Walz's face. So he's trying to act like, where were you? Where did you carry? First and foremost, Governor Walz deployed to Italy, and he also deployed to Turkey, both in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. Understand that our military is very big. And oh, by the way, we know that the National Guard are not exactly door kickers. They're not trained to be door kickers, So, this is, with J.D. Vance talking about, where were you? J.D. Vance was a correspondent, wrote stuff. He wasn't a door kicker. He didn't go outside the wire. So J.D. Vance really should not try to throw stones because, once again, we can give each other shit, but we're supposed to support each other. Veterans, that's how it works. Right. I can talk shit about a Marine, but if we're inside of a bar and somebody starts messing with that Marine, me and that Marine's going to fight that son of a bitch because that's how it rolls. That's how we roll.
Why are Marines from his unit going on Fox News saying that he's a piece of shit, basically, and saying he's not part of the unit and he left them while they were being deployed and he just stayed behind?
Because people are looking for their little shot of fame. Once again, the timeline shows he retired 2 months before they were actually given a warning order that said, okay, start prepping, we're going to deploy. Then about 6 months later, they finally got the word that you are now deploying. And they deployed almost a year after he left. So this is all bull crap. If you look at the timeline, he is absolutely fine to go ahead and retire for the military. He did 24 years. How can you talk smack about a man that served 24 years when your partner got 5 damn deferments from for bone spurs that your daddy paid a doctor to write up? So if you want to talk shit about somebody that daggone didn't have the guts to deploy, you talk shit about daggone Donald Trump. Don't talk shit about the guy that spent 24 years serving this country.
So, Chow, do you have anything to add to that?
Sorry for the late arrival, but dude, honor to have you on, Army Major.
Yes.
I want to go back to our last interview and see where we're at. Because lots happened since last we talked to you. What's your take on President Biden right now?
Well, actually, I was actually really disappointed when he dropped out of the race, because I'll be honest with you, he's actually having a great first term. The infrastructure, he's done a lot of good things. He's the one who built the infrastructure to daggone get everybody vaccinated. There's a lot of things that Joe Biden has done. Unemployment is down. It's been below 4% his entire time. He's created over 16.5 million jobs. He had a rough debate. But the first 30 minutes of that debate, he said the wrong numbers. He said 15,000 jobs, not 15 million jobs. And I'll be honest with you, I was screaming at the television. But at the end of the day, the last hour of that debate, he did fine. And he told the truth throughout. It's sad that the daggone news media refused to daggone fact check Donald Trump, who did nothing but lie the entire debate.
Why would they? They're trying to get rid of Biden, man. You saw that. They did that on purpose. They wanted to set him up. They wanted to coup him, and they got rid of him.
Look, if they did that debate in June to get rid of him, right?
That's why they did it.
I am someone, because I've had people in my family that have dementia and cognitive. I do think there's something off with Biden. Like, I do think.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's 82 years old and he's the leader of the free world. I mean, you can understand that. Yeah, he's getting up there in age, and at the end of the day, I'm fine. But when he dropped out, I was worried, because I was like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Are they going to continue on with Kamala Harris? And is she able to fire the people up? And the truth is that yes, she's absolutely fired the people up. And her vice presidential selection is 1,000 times better than Donald Trump's vice presidential selection. Literally nobody wants J.D. Vance, but that's where we're at. I think that, he's going to continue doing what he has to do throughout this election. And let's hope that the transition of power is going to go from him to Kamala. Make no mistake about it. We already know Donald Trump.
There's some things about Kamala. Oh, sorry, sir. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, I just said, I'm glad that Joe Biden is the president of the United States, because this election is there's going to be a lot of crazy stuff that's going to happen during this election. We already know that there's about 70 people put in positions of power that are talking about challenging already the election results. And make no mistake about it, it's just like the fake electors. If you guys want to go down that path and you want to try to steal an election, you're asking to go to prison too. I'm going to tell you right now, all these fake electors are going to find themselves in prison. The ones that aren't smart enough to run quickly to the daggone people to try to get the first deal, because, only a couple people are going to get deals and the rest are going to go to prison.
Well, here's my thing, though, Major. My biggest thing is, and this is why, like, I appreciate ATP David coming on here, and Chow is also a huge personnel on this also. It's just like, you're seeing everything that's going on right now. Everything's costing so much more. The stock market just crashed recently. You saw huge implements of just horrible things going on. No one in the Democratic side is taking any responsibility for anything that's going on, even though they're the leadership right now, who's in power. No one wants to acknowledge that, but they are in power right now. And you're seeing all these issues, and everyday Americans like myself are suffering every fucking day. It's hard to pay for groceries. It's hard to pay for rent. It's hard to pay for all these things under this Democratic leadership compared to back in 2020 or whenever Trump was in power. And I'm approaching as a real person right now. It's hard for me to pay for things right now under what I'm doing, because I make a lot of money, but compared to back then going on right now, it's hard for me, man, to support a family by myself, to have my wife stay at home while my kids taken care of by her. It's very no, hang on, let me finish it. Yeah, I know you agree, but like, it's very hard to pay for these things. Before this and everything, and like economically, I have these two gentlemen on here because they are very smart on this topic. So what aspects of this regime that's right now, implementing their things, and then with Harris coming forward to implement her thing, is that like, what can we look forward to as like middle class or lower middle class that we can like see? Like, gentlemen, can you like give me some aspects of what you've seen so far that might be implications of a better future, or is there some issues?
I just think that the inflation that's happened, and I blame both parties, the shutting down COVID economy, printing on spending all that money, cause all these prices to go up. That's killed so the 4% unemployment, that's nice, but the participation rate, so the number of people actually looking for jobs, is multi-decade lows. And that's, again, that was happening for a while. And I think that we were talking about earlier in the show, and McDonald's said this in the recent earnings report, people aren't going to McDonald's right now or
No longer
because it's too expensive for them. So that's a serious problem.
Yeah, but here's the problem. These places are actually bringing in record, results. They're making more money than they've ever.
It doesn't matter when
the last earnings of McDonald's were bad.
Yeah, they're horrible.
Yeah.
There's a lot of companies out there that are friggin' buying back their friggin' stock and giving their people, bigger raises and shit like that, while the people that are doing all the damn work are getting shit on. My thing is those people need called out.
Even though I'm a libertarian, I've actually been against stock buybacks for years, because I've said that does nothing, but they just try to keep the number of shares down so all these guys at the top can exercise their stock options. So I agree with you. Okay, so here's another segue into this. What do you think of members of Congress trading stock? Because a Democrat,
I don't like it.
Nancy Pelosi, she's one of the worst for that.
Yeah, I think it's garbage. I think that and here's the thing: they actually they get away with insider trading. They know exactly what the hell's coming on. They know exactly. Oh, we're getting ready to freaking pick a fight with somebody. Let's go buy some stock into Boeing and fucking Halliburton, because that's what they do. I don't think anybody in Congress should be allowed to freaking trade the freaking stock market.
Or the other hand would be like, say, chip companies. They're like, okay, we're not going to allow China to buy these chips from a certain company like NVIDIA or something like that. And they could just dump their position knowing that. No, they do that stuff all the time. I agree with you.
I mean, let's just go ahead and be honest. Both sides, all these people that become members of Congress, they always get there and they're friggin' just regular people, but they all leave multi-millionaires. Look at Joe Manchin from West Virginia. West Virginia is one of the poorest states in the damn country, but that son of a bitch daggone has all kinds of money, drives a Maserati, has $1 million yacht. I mean, the only people in West Virginia that friggin' benefit is Joe Manchin. So, I mean, I despise all that stuff. I don't think it's right. I don't know why we have so many people that go to Washington, D.C. with the mentality of, I'm going to go there and get rich. If it was up to me, we'd have term limits for every damn body to include the Supreme Court. I don't think anybody should be able to do more than 12 years, period. And I say that because I say, okay, let's let people that are in the Senate get 2 terms. But let's let the people in the House, since it's 12 years, 6 terms. But that's it. That's what we should be in this country. We should only allow 12 years, and then you're out. And you shouldn't be allowed to buy and commit insider trading. If we can send
I'm 100% before term limits. And by the way, in terms of Trump and like the cabinet and all that sort of thing, Mnuchin, the guy that he had, right? And then like now he's talking about Larry Fink, being his Treasury Secretary. Like Larry Fink is basically taking the swamp and draining it into your cabinet, like BlackRock is a huge problem right now, because what they're doing is they're buying up all and they did this after the financial crisis. They buy up real estate and then rent it to people. And that actually, one reason that real estate prices are inflated is that BlackRock, Blackstone, all those companies have done that. And then that's created this artificial demand, so they can turn around and rent it, and make an income off it. And the average person can't afford a house. So, and by the way, the definition of fascism isn't whatever, Trump or whatever.
I mean,
corporations working with big government. That's the definition of fascism. That's the definition of it. Look it up.
I don't know. You just saw everything going on right now. I mean, didn't Trump just have like a press conference, right?
Oh, that thing he did at the Black.
Whatever. No, it just happened today. Today.
Okay. I don't know. I don't watch
that about economics.
I haven't. I haven't watched it.
I didn't watch it today.
I don't know. You have to watch it because I mean I'm not well versed in economics, so I'm not going to speak on it. It's just what he's saying to the American people from verbatim is just like, hey, shit is more expensive now. You're suffering more, so there's an issue here. So we need to fix that, and I'm here to fix that because the Democrats don't give a fuck anymore about trying to fix it. So that kind of speaks to your average American. That you guys might be like mad about, like, oh, they're doing, like, you got to think though. Average Americans paying more for gas. They're paying more for groceries. There's an issue, and paying more for rent, more for houses. There's an issue here.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what though? When Donald Trump was the president for 4 years, why didn't he do any of this stuff? Why didn't he? I mean, right now, Donald Trump is trying to tell you that he's going to make everything perfect or make it great again. But the truth is when he was in for 4 years, he didn't help no damn body. He didn't fix the coal industry. We lost more coal jobs in West Virginia under Donald Trump than anybody else. He didn't fix the auto industry, especially the people in Ohio. You know, he talks a good game, but he don't fucking do nothing. Because once he gets into office, he's only running for one reason, and that's to friggin' avoid accountability. And let me tell you something, as a person who spent 24 years in the military and as a person who held a top secret security clearance, those damn classified documents should send him, Waltine Nauta, and that Oliverio guy to prison for life. For life.
I don't believe that. I'm sorry, man, but like every president does something so illegal or so fucked up that they should go to prison for life.
No.
What do you mean no?
Not the same. Not the same. Not the same. He had 126 boxes of classified documents. And as the president of the United States, he should have learned how important it is to make sure we protect those documents. He stole those documents, took them down to Mar-a-Lago, and then obstructed when they tried to get them. He was hiding them, Waltine Nauta, and then was running them around, trying to hide them in different places. That right there, and I'm going to tell you right now, in the bathroom, stacked up to the damn ceiling. How many people you think went inside there, locked the door, and then started thumbing through those pages? Because I bet you that we're going to find out when this is all said and done that he absolutely either sold or traded classified documents for something. Because there's no reason why Donald Trump should have ever taken documents that dealt with our nuclear capabilities away from Washington, D.C., especially after he had lost the presidency.
I got a cool question for you then. This is interesting. So I do want to ask you this because you are a very stent Democrat, right? I'm more middle ground, but I have a question for you because you are more Democrat, sir. What is your take on Josh Shapiro and how they kind of dismissed him as a Jew because their far leaning left proposition of their party was more Hamas what do you call it, Muslim, that they couldn't allow Josh Shapiro because he was pro-Israel state, he was pro-IDF. They couldn't allow that, so they had to like lean into that because they want that vote more. Like I've seen that a lot within Twitter Spaces. What's your take on that?
I mean, at the end of the day, I thought that Josh Shapiro
could win in Pennsylvania and like that area. So I don't understand why they.
And I agree. That's what I was thinking. I was like, and he's a great speaker.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's more like middle ground. He could like feed into like more normal people about what's going on. So why wouldn't they take him?
Well, the reason why they wouldn't take
the
him,
Hamas vibe.
Well, the reason why, first off, let me tell you something. He has a very, very bright future in the Democratic Party, but sadly, and like I said, I don't know exactly. I wasn't in that, the consideration when they were looking at Mark Kelly and Josh Shapiro and Governor Walz and all these people. I wasn't in that, but I will tell you, I kind of think a lot of it has to come down to, we do have a lot of people in this country that are livid at what took place in Israel.
I don't understand that.
Do what?
I don't understand that. Why are they livid?
I mean, the loss of life. First off, Netanyahu he's a war criminal as far as I'm concerned. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think that's what it was. They were worried that situation could basically hurt them. They want to win. We have to win. We already know that Donald Trump has plans to turn our democracy into a dictatorship. So we have to make sure that we do everything we can to win this race. And I'll be honest with you.
What's wrong with Josh Shapiro then? What's wrong with Josh Shapiro?
There's nothing wrong with Josh Shapiro, but maybe they thought because of what's going on in Israel and how it's a hot topic button, maybe they wanted to avoid that.
Because he's a Jew and he's pro-Israel state. That's my issue with this shit, dude. I don't like this shit because like I don't get it. Like why are we promoting pro-Muslim shit when Josh Shapiro would have won multiple like states within that Rust Belt?
But so can Walz.
But Josh Shapiro's the go-to Josh. I don't understand the aspect of it. I don't get because. I don't understand.
I mean, they selected Governor Walz. At the end of the day, I'm going to accept who they pick. I thought that Josh Shapiro would have been great. I mean,
yeah, and you're not even in discussions with it. You understood that he would be great. Why wouldn't they do that? Obviously, they're eons ahead of us. So why wouldn't they consider Josh Shapiro.
Well, maybe they thought, well, instead of Josh Shapiro, especially right now with Israel being a hot topic button, maybe we get somebody, I don't know, let's get somebody who's a veteran, a person that served 24 years. Let's go ahead and select Governor Walz.
Yeah, and that's my issue. They don't want to offend the Muslim aspect or the radical Palestinian Democratic side, the far left, man. That's my issue.
I got you. But understand this. No matter what you do, if you decide today to run for office, let me tell you something. If you throw your hat in the ring to run for office, you're going to try to do everything in your power to try to be open for everybody. You want everybody to support you. You don't want a group of people to say, screw you, we're not going to support you. And that's the thing. They probably thought that it would hurt. There'd be a lot of people in this country that would absolutely be against Josh Shapiro because of the timing of it. At the end of the day, like I said, we wasn't in that conversation, but
but those people are aggressive and they're fucking evil, man. Some aspect.
Here's the problem with that type of thinking. I'm Canadian, like I said. I still follow Canadian politics somewhat. There was a by-election in a very affluent area of Toronto, which has been liberal. So basically, the Canadian version of Democrats for like 30, 40 years, right? And it had a very high Jewish population. And Trudeau is trying to take the middle ground. He's trying to be also trying to, because there's much more Muslims than Jews in Canada. And he's trying to appease them. And they lost that riding for the first time in 40 years because most of these Jews who vote, liberal, they all voted conservative. And he lost. So there's that old saying, if you try to please everyone, you're going to please no one.
No one. Yeah. And at the end of the day, like I said, if you look at the polling that's coming out, I mean, especially in the key states like Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, actually, Kamala is actually winning in those states now. And even they just said that now it's even getting scary for Donald Trump in Florida because Kamala is only down by 5 points in Florida. And Florida's supposed to be his stronghold. Yeah. So, I mean, I think she's doing.
Who's telling you that shit?
I was looking at damn polling.
All right. I just don't know, man. It's just so. I mean, you see legacy media, everyone's talking shit about it lately. Like, you see Twitter. I mean, like, what was it? Donald Trump and Elon Musk pulled, like, what was like 1 billion views overall from every network, like, covering it. It was 1 billion views. It's insane shit, dude. I don't know, man. Like, I can't trust just CNN and fucking NBC tell me all the polls are down.
Yeah, but what did they do? They had an interview on X, and they literally praised Donald Trump, praised him for firing people that wanted a raise. So
I would too. Fuck you if you're not doing shit. Fuck you. You're not going to get a raise.
Who says they wasn't doing nothing?
I don't know. Or did they tell you they were doing something? I mean, did they tell you they were doing something?
They worked for X, and
were they doing something?
Huh?
Were they doing something?
They were working for X.
They were working for X, but were they doing something to make it better or make themselves better to get a promo?
Have you noticed a difference in X since those people got fired? Because I haven't.
I haven't either. That's what I'm saying. Richard, like, my thing is like, you want.
Let me tell you something. Go ahead. When you fire somebody because they just want a raise, that doesn't work with unions across the country.
It's not a union.
It ain't got no. I know that it's not. He won't let a union. But once again, if a person wants to, this guy's worth $240 billion. Well, I mean, to me, I would think that he should take the workers at X, and obviously they had to pass something to become a worker at X. I would think that he would do everything in his power to try to help them make their lives better. I mean, if he's worth $240 billion, I mean, it ain't even like he would even miss a dime, not a day. This guy's got more money than he could spend in 1,000 lifetimes. So at the end of the day, why not do what you can to try to at least help your people to live better that work for you?
I mean, I understand that in a perfect world. I do get that. But at the same time, I mean, I'm not autistic. Like someone said, Decline Host said something like Musk is autistic. I don't know. But if you're not adding anything to my company, if you're not doing anything for my betterment of the company, I'm not going to give you shit, dude. I don't give a fuck. You can be a fucking janitor. As long as you're being a janitor, not doing nothing, then you can fucking be a janitor. I don't give a fuck.
If you work for a company and you don't do nothing and you're not active, you're supposed to be fired. But once again, he didn't fire them because they sucked. He's
Why did they
fired them
fire him?
because they finally said, "Hey, can we get a raise?"
Yeah, exactly. So when people say, "Hey, can I get a raise?" and you don't want to give them a raise because they don't deserve one, you got to go and I'll hire somebody who just is okay with what they're making. Like, I mean,
But if
that's
somebody asks for a raise and they don't deserve it, then you have the right to say, I don't think you deserve a raise.
exactly. Then that's fine. But if they do deserve a raise and they're asking for one, then you can get in that conversation. Then there are some issues there. Do you believe?
But you're talking about.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Look. When it comes to Elon Musk,
What
this
about
is a
him,
guy.
man? I don't get that.
Well, this guy, he's got more money than he could spend. But do you know that, like, his launch pads, where he launches, like in New Mexico, you know who pays for that? Taxpayers.
Look,
Taxpayers.
My issue with Elon Musk is he acts like he's this big libertarian and all this stuff, but that guy gets more tax money than like any other entrepreneur. He got tons of tax money to set up his plant in California.
Yeah.
He gets tax money for like that for the rockets. By the way, one of those rockets landed 50 miles from my house here in the Bahamas. One day I heard this big thump, and I saw this thing in the sky in the rock. It was cool, but but that stuff's all paid for by the government, right? So that's my issue with Elon Musk. And actually, no one ever looks into it, but the county around Tesla is very shady, So I'm not really a big fan of his.
Yeah, I'm not either. I think that those damn Tesla vehicles are the ugliest damn vehicles on the damn.
They're horrible, dude.
Yeah.
Like the first ones. Yeah.
I want to jump into something that people aren't really talking about a lot now, Army Major, and that's like some of the down ballot stuff. So what's going on with all that? And because you only hear about the main.
Let me tell you something. I go live every night at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time on YouTube and Facebook, and I'm going to tell you, I am always telling everybody, vote up and down the ballot. We got to get the down ballot candidates in there. We need to put more Democrats in the, all the way down to Board of Education, Secretary of State, all those races. We need to try to win those races as well. And I want to make sure people are paying attention to the down ballots.
Any indication on who's going to win?
Well, let me tell you this. I tell people, I say, look, if Kamala Harris wins the presidency, but she doesn't have a House of Representatives and a Senate that is willing to work with her, then we are in a friggin' standstill. That's why it's important for people to, and I'm going to tell you this too. Let's look at West Virginia. Let's look at the governor of West Virginia, Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan is running for Senate. He's already served 8 years as the governor of West Virginia. Jim Jordan has lost $1.1 billion since becoming the governor of West Virginia. Yeah. He is by far the worst damn governor I think we've ever had in West Virginia. He put $1.6 billion on the backs of the working class citizens in West Virginia to fix the roads and did not fix the roads, 50th in infrastructure. So, this, and now he's running for Senate. He's done nothing for the state of West Virginia. And the only reason why he's running for Senate, as I believe, is he wants to go up there and get in some of that good old insider trading so he can make some of his damn money back. And the bad part about it is in West Virginia, these people are so damn friggin' blind and think that Donald Trump is one of them. And he don't give a shit about those people in West Virginia.
Yeah.
But yet they're going to vote for this guy. Jim Jordan drives around the state of West Virginia with a big fat bulldog. And he lets people pet the bulldog. And you watch on this social media, people going, I met Baby Dog today. And I'm like, you're the worst part of what's going on in this damn country.
Well, here's my worst part of what's going on in this damn campaign, man. No. Here's my worst part is that the Trump campaign is pro-Israel. It is. I've seen it. JD Vance is backed by certain Israeli backers who support the supported the Clinton campaign, and that is truth. You can look that shit up. I think you know that, Richard, right?
That's fine.
You know that. This supported by Democratic sponsors who support JD Vance. It's true. He's an Israeli operative, whatever you want to call it. The Democratic nominee or for fucking Kamala Harris, they rejected Josh Shapiro because they want to somewhat kind of get like you said, they want to get the vote of everybody, whatever, for their party. They're pushing not anti-Israel vibes, but kind of getting that like Britain is doing right now, and Tommy Robinson is fighting that. And I don't like that shit. And you're starting to see it more. They didn't take Josh Shapiro, which would have been the most logical aspect to take that to win the presidency. They took Tim Walz instead for whatever fucking reason. And now I don't agree with the Democratic Party because I'm pro-Israel, and they're willing to not take a pro-Israel personnel like Josh Shapiro, who would have been amazing. So now I'm just like, what are you guys trying to promote at this point? You just want to get votes, or are you actually standing for something? Because most people want to vote for something who stand for something, not just because they want to mitigate to other parties so they can get all the most votes, or they can, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, are you pro-Israel? Or are you not pro-Israel? Then why is Josh Shapiro not here? But you're a VP. That's my fucking issue, bro.
Yeah, but you know what though? I mean, why not Mark Kelly, who's an astronaut? You know, why not him? I mean, look, at the end of the day,
why you like? Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
At the end of the day, they made the decision, and I'm going to support that. Look, I love the fact.
Shit? You support the anti-Semitism?
I don't support anti-Semitism, but I support a 24-year veteran being the vice president. To me, as veteran, I'm like, hell yeah, we got somebody in there that's actually going to really give a shit about veterans. Somebody who knows what they're talking about when we're talking about veterans. So as far as I'm concerned, that excites me. Now, once again, Josh Shapiro is a great speaker. I think he would have been a great vice president. But once again, sure. I was hoping Mark Kelly over anybody, because I just kind of felt that Mark Kelly, an astronaut, I mean, how can you throw stones at that? You know, guy's got a military career. How can you throw stones? But, you know, they decided to go with Governor Walz. And I think Governor Walz is a great vice president selection. And I think that's it. I think that there is definitely going to be a very bright future for Josh Shapiro. I think that there's a possibility we could see him running in the next few years. So I'm down with that.
Well, I don't get it. It's people shitting on Tim Walz. I get, like, people are saying like he sucked horse cum. I saw all that crazy shit on Twitter. You saw that.
Yeah,
you saw that
too.
But my, like,
that's the same.
I saw that he was jerking off horses, eating their cum, whatever. That's garbage. But I mean, what was it? Didn't Donald Trump also, like, call him and say he was doing a great job with the BLM riots while it was happening?
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened, didn't it? Like, yeah. I saw that.
Yeah. And then, of course, now Donald Trump says that he's the worst thing in the world. But once again, that's elections. You know, at the end of the day, you're going to see underhanded shit. You're going to see all kinds of crazy shit. You're going to see people trying to attack people. I mean, sadly, it's an election. I mean, I took a fucking pipe to the back of the skull and 8 broken bones in my face with brass knuckles 2 days before I won my Senate seat in West Virginia. So, yeah, crazy shit happens.
ATB, you're muted, bro.
Yeah, that's rough, man. That's
politics in West Virginia. That's what really sucks. And nothing ever happened. Well, the guy who did it finally died of an overdose.
Well, that's karma.
Hell yeah. They had saved him 7 times with Narcan.
Chow,
finally the last one, he shit the bed.
A good man. I'm glad he's fucking dead, fucking faggot.
Yep.
Chow, you want to say something?
Yeah. So, what have you been working on as far as political aspirations over the last 3 months since we interviewed you last?
Okay, so I founded turnleftpac.org. We are putting billboards up. We just put a billboard right in J.D. Vance's right outside his neighborhood that has him basically saying that Donald Trump is unfit, because he absolutely said that. We're getting ready to put some billboards up going after Ted Cruz. We're doing everything we can to try to help. I'm also doing some stuff with a group called va.org that we're trying to basically be able to help people that are veterans to try to, file their claims for disability claims. I'm going to tell you, if it was up to me, if I had my way, I'd sue the shit out of friggin', the Bush administration if I could, because of Iraq. Because the truth is we should have never invaded Iraq. We should have never went there.
100%, man. Agree, 100%.
You agree with that shit?
We should have never went there. We killed over 1 million
Iraqis. That was Bush trying to, following his daddy's footsteps.
Well, here's the thing. We had Osama bin Laden held up in the Tora Bora Mountains, and we were so close to him we could hear them on the radios. So, and then all of a sudden they said, "Stop, back up, get out of there," so we could let him go free, and then we could go invade Iraq over a lie of weapons of mass destruction. And I went into Iraq thinking we're going to find some weapons of mass destruction. And you know what? We did what we did.
Yep.
And there's all kinds of shit that pisses me off. You know, I actually landed in Afghanistan the night I was already in Afghanistan. I went home for 15 days. Everybody knows in the military, in combat, we were able to give everybody 15 days at home with their family over the course of the year. So I went home. I was there from November to November to April. And then I went home for 15 days. And I got back on May the 10th or May the 11th because I was waiting to catch a helicopter to fly me out to my combat outpost. And a guy walked up and said, "Sir, did you hear? We got him." And I'm like, "What?" They said, "We killed Osama bin Laden last night." And the first thing I said is, "Well, when the hell am I packing up and going home? Why should I even get on this damn helicopter and fly out to a damn combat outpost that ain't got shit when we killed him?" And we stayed for another 10 years. Because why? Because Halliburton, Brown and Root, and those assholes were making money hand over fist. We were building roads in places where the damn people only had 2 donkeys and a cart. And we were building friggin' roads in those areas because Brown and Root, Halliburton, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, Raytheon were
dude.
They were
Let's
raking
go.
it in.
Industrial military complex.
I support that shit. I mean, we gotta make money.
We should be able to sue. We should be able to sue Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, Halliburton, Brown and Root. We should be able to sue them. You know, we went into friggin' Iraq and it was all a bunch of lies. You know, before Colin Powell died, he said the one thing that he regretted in his life was pushing that damn lie that got us into friggin' Iraq.
Did you sign to go into there though?
Go into where?
Into Iraq or whatever the fuck you went.
I went into Iraq because I thought there were weapons of mass destruction.
Yes, but did your upper people acknowledge that? Did they tell you the truth or no?
No, the upper people, we all believed. I mean, my brigade commander, we deployed as a brigade, and we were going there to look for weapons of mass destruction and all that shit. I mean, that's how it was.
I mean, why would you sue the people who support, like, who built like the weaponry or who built like, you know, the establishment to like for you guys to go into war?
Because at the end of the day, let me tell you something. If you don't think that they don't have a seat at the table, let me tell you something.
They do.
That's why we stayed. Why did we stay in Afghanistan after we killed Osama bin Laden? Because they were making shit tons of money.
Fuck yeah.
And so that was it.
Yeah, but shouldn't you? I'm not going to argue with that.
Let's pivot off Iraq because that was a long time ago. I know, Army Major, you were saying that you were doing some recording where you were going to be the voice of AI for the military or something. How's that going?
For VA.org, they're using my face. And when you do it, the AI, it's gonna be my face.
Dude, are you worried like you're gonna be like 100 years from now they're gonna be using you as like the
propaganda?
Motherfucker, you fucking pussy.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's 100 years from now. I really don't give a shit.
If you don't vote Democrat, you're a fucking faggot.
No. Look. At the end of the day, like I said, to me, my hardest thing is this. Is that, you know, to me, Donald Trump is absolutely nothing about leadership at all. And that right there is what
he got shot in the ear. He's like, fight. Come on, that's leadership right there, bro.
Look, no. Look. Let me tell you something. I denounced that assassination. But understand that the moment that happened, every single damn Republican automatically went to TikTok and said, "You damn Democrats, you've done." It was a damn Republican that thought that Donald Trump wasn't right enough.
Stop that shit right now. Hang on, stop that shit right now. I'm gonna say something right now before you continue on with that, sir. I'm gonna give you something real quick that I've heard a lot from Democrats is that Democrats in Republican areas to vote against the Democrat they don't want to get elected will, you know, sign off as Republican so they can vote against that Republican. They will become Republicans so they can vote against that Republican they don't want in office. So there's a lot of things in play there, man, that we really don't know. I'm not going to say these are Republicans, so how can you know? Like maybe it's a Democrat who wanted to be Republican so he can vote against that Republican.
No, he was a Republican that absolutely thought that Donald Trump wasn't Republican enough.
Sure.
I think you had like
yeah. I read your bio. You said you voted for Trump, right, in 2016.
I supported Donald Trump in 2016. I did. And you know what?
You had a beef with him too, right? He called you out.
I mean, He come
crazy.
he come to West Virginia and called me a stone cold crazy wacko because he was campaigning for the woman Carol Miller that I was running against, who, by the way, is running for her 4th term, and she has yet to this day to ever bring one single penny or one single capability to West Virginia from Washington, D.C. The only thing that she has successfully done is she got herself a $3.1 million PPP loan that was forgiven. That's the only thing that she has done. And Donald Trump went down there because Donald Trump campaigned against me for her. And that was it.
So why did you vote for Donald Trump, bro? Like, what was why were you like, what drew you to him?
Donald Trump was the first person since JFK to actually talk about helping the people of West Virginia. And I held my nose because he said all kinds of stupid shit. But you know what? He was the only damn one that was talking. Hillary Clinton, and once again, we know that the deplorables thing wasn't really, but I mean, it really made a lot of people think that she was basically slapping people in the face. And here's another thing with Hillary Clinton. And I'm going to tell you, my thought was this, is that first off, we had a father and son team, president. We had George Bush and then his son, George W. Bush.
Good man. Yeah. We
had Bill Clinton. And now we're going to have Hillary Clinton. And see, that's when I started thinking, you know what the hell's wrong with our country? We were always told when we was growing up that anybody can become president. But the truth is you got to be in power families before you can become a president. It seems like
you're basically becoming almost like the British with the Queen and King. It's like
right.
It's like
And oh, by the way, and that's what I started going. You know what? I disagree with that. I don't want.
What about Trump made you like him?
I didn't like Donald Trump.
No, what about made you? You got to vote for him. So you must like something.
Donald Trump said that he was going to help the coal industry in West Virginia. My family, all my uncles, I got family that's coal miners, and it was like, you know what? These are people that struggle. They struggle, and anybody that could do something that could maybe make their lives a little bit better, then I say, you know what? I support that. And it never happened. It never happened. He didn't help. He didn't save the coal industry. He didn't do shit for those friggin' people.
Really?
The main industry
it's sad.
But
they love the fact that he talks the way we talk. Whatever.
Hey man, first of all, 2 things. Main industry I've invested in mining, so I know how difficult it is because to make money in it as a company and also like the workers, it's like it's hard work, right? So that's number 1. But here's 2 other points I'd like to make. So the first one I'd like to make is talking the way they talk. We were going to have my friend Sean on. He left, unfortunately, a few hours ago. He lives in the Bahamas. He's in African, I guess, Bahamian guy. He's a black guy. And he loves Trump, right? And a lot of the black people here love Trump. And it's because same thing. He talks like them. He talks kind of crass. It's why a lot of the local guys kind of talk down here, all that sort of thing, right? So I'd like to say that's an interesting point.
But once again, have you seen the recent picture that Donald Trump posted, where he said, "This is life under Trump. This is life under Kamala. Life under Trump is a neighborhood with no people, but they all got American flags on the front porch.
What's wrong with
life
that?
Under Trump or life under Kamala, it's a sea of black people."
Are they black or are they immigrants?
Every single person.
Illegal? Whoa. Black people. Hang on, mister. You're white as shit.
Every
an immigrant. I am a white male who has been based off of lots of immigration throughout this country. So before you go off on the fucking black thing about immigration and whatnot, are they legal immigrants or are they illegal immigrants?
Well, first and foremost, I don't know if we've got a sea of black people coming here from Africa.
I mean, look at New York City, bro. What's going on right now with Somalia and Africa? I have people from New York come to my household and say New York is fucked.
I'm talking about the photograph. I'm talking about Donald Trump using a photograph that has a sea of black people. And he says
it relates to a lot of people in deeper inner city. Yeah, because it relates with people in cities that the fuck, dude. There's a lot of immigrants, a lot of African, Somalian, and who knows what. immigrants that come into our country illegally and they're getting housed and or there's issues going on. I've had people from New York City come to my house and say, dude, the parks and the fucking areas that we live in publicly within New York City are fucked now from illegal immigrants that are black and shit. I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm not saying they're black Americans that he's fucking shitting on. He's not shitting on black Americans, obviously. He's shitting on illegal immigration. A lot of them are from fucking Africa and shit.
He's using a picture of black people to try to scare
Who
people.
gives a fuck? They're not black Americans, right? Are they? Is he saying black Americans are garbage? He's
Nobody
not,
knows
right?
where this picture comes from.
Richard, are they black Americans? Yes or no?
I have no clue.
You have no clue. So why are you shitting on it then? Because you have
What do
no
you
idea
mean
what the
shitting
fuck
on
you're
it?
talking about.
What do you mean shitting on it? I'm trying to say that he's literally saying that if you vote for me, we're going to have a lily white world. But if you vote for Kamala Harris,
white
the black
world,
people are going to come.
Dude, I'm from Del Rio, Texas. Do you know what Del Rio, Texas is?
I've never been to Del Rio, Texas.
Do you know? Okay, you have no idea. Del Rio, Texas is a state border town from Mexico, from Mexico to Texas, right? My town that I grew up in is a fucking shithole now. And I've seen it from my friends who lived in there, who still live there, from the people who still live there after we moved out. That place is a shithole from the migrants that have been moving in there. And I personally have seen that. And that's what my issue is with this migration crisis. And then I have people from New York City who have this migration crisis because they're busing people and they have the other people. Like, I am a person who's seeing this shit firsthand. And there are a lot of black people. I mean, they're not black Americans, so it's okay. But
Can I
go
make
ahead.
I just want to make a segue.
It's a lot of black people, but whatever.
Because you're talking about the coal industry in West Virginia, okay? But you're a Democrat, and they're hardcore climate change, blah blah blah. They essentially want to wipe out the coal industry. So that's something I really don't understand.
Well, the thing about that we have in West Virginia is that the coal operators are doing everything that they can to stop anything from coming into West Virginia. Whether it's solar, whether it's wind, they don't care. And I'm going to tell you, the coal operator don't really give a shit about the coal miner. And it's well, I mean, that's just how it is. They want to make all the daggone money. They don't want nothing. And they tell the coal miner, if we let this stuff come into the state, well, then we're gonna go under. Let me tell you what these coal operators do. These coal operators work these people 6 days a week and 12-hour shifts. The 40-hour week don't work in West Virginia for coal mining. You work 12-hour days, 6 days a week.
Right.
And make no mistake about it, what they have been caught doing multiple times, they leave like a thief in the night. They disappear, and then the people show up for work, and they get told the boss left. The mine is shutting down. And they get away from not having to pay people's retirement. They get away from not having to reclaim the areas that they friggin' shit all over and destroyed. That shit happens in West Virginia often. Oh, by the way, if you don't believe me, you remember when Harlan County, Kentucky, about 2-3 years ago? Harlan County, the coal miners in Harlan County, Kentucky were standing on the railroad tracks to stop trains from coming into that place because that coal operator left like a thief in the night and didn't pay them the money for the month that they worked, and literally went to West Virginia, where instead of being held accountable and be made to pay for what he owed those people in Kentucky, now he's actually building a resort in Barbersville that's going to be bigger than the Greenbrier. Now, he shit all over the people in Kentucky. He stiffed the coal miners from not getting paid, and then he gets to just jump over the border and build a friggin' resort. These people don't give a shit about the coal miners. They never have, and they never will. They don't give a shit about coal miners and their families. They don't give a shit. And that's West Virginia. Jim Justice, the governor of West Virginia, is in a world of friggin' shit right now. They're auctioning off the Greenbrier, and also he actually has so much money that he owes for fines that, because he doesn't do things to code.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of dirty miners. Like, trust me,
That's a lot of dirty
miners, man.
Coal operators, bad people.
Yeah.
Not all of them. I'm sure there's some good ones out there that give a shit, but for the most part in West Virginia, the way we've always seen, it goes the way it goes. Hey guys, how much longer are we going to be on here?
I got to sign off.
We can wrap up here in a minute. I just want to like, I know you kind of know who you're going to vote for, but how do you think like the general public is thinking on this? Because I have the feeling that a lot of people are thinking they kind of know who they want now. What do you foresee happening over the next X amount of months? What is it, 3-4 months till the election?
We got about 90 days left.
Okay. What do you foresee happening that will sway people from one to the other?
Well, I think that the Democratic National Convention is going to do very well. I think that it's going to really bring a lot of people together. Once again, Donald Trump isn't out here telling about how he's going to help elderly people to be able to live in dignity. He's not talking about, helping the poor to be elevated out of poverty. He's not talking about jobs. He's going on every day, and his team is telling him, please stop talking about Kamala's color and stop talking about campaign rally sizes. But Donald Trump cannot be controlled, and he continues to go down this path. He continues to say the same stupid shit, and I just believe that people are starting to get tired of that. I believe that we're seeing his rallies. People are leaving right after it starts. I think that we're going to pull off a victory. I think we're going to have a first female president.
But I want to ask on the Kamala thing. What does she identify as?
Yeah, answer that, bro.
I don't know if
she's that, man.
Is she African American or is she
Indian?
Indian
from India. What is she? Both?
African American and
Indian. Her father's from Jamaica.
Jamaica. Is that making
her mother's
black?
from India.
Does it make him black?
Let's face it.
Or is it
she
English?
was raised Indian because her dad wasn't around. So she was raised Indian.
Yeah,
what do you mean her dad wasn't around? Her dad wasn't no deadbeat. Her dad was a daggone professor in college.
Was he white?
No,
Jamaican white. He was black. So prove that shit, bro. What's his name?
There's
I'll look it up right now.
Of
What's his name?
There's photographs of him. I'm not going to get into this kind of bullshit, brother. There's photographs of her with her daddy and he's black. He's a black man.
Was that her uncle?
What?
I didn't know because I had seen like before that she had said one thing and then. But okay, well, I think it's gonna be
drinks too much.
Well,
I'm Mexican. I'm Mexican, and my mother's Italian.
But yeah, you go by Ojeda, not Ojeda.
I go by Ojeda because when my grandfather,
white motherfuckers.
Listen, when my grandfather come to America, my grandfather worked in the coal fields in West Virginia, and they didn't understand that.
Yeah, the white motherfuckers don't know shit.
They didn't know that.
Yeah, they don't know shit, bro. I know that shit, man. I'm fucking Peruvian. I know that Latino shit, bro. The white
he's
motherfuckers.
Latino too. But no, are you still doing your show with John Melendez?
I go on his show every about once a week. I'll go on there. Look, I don't give a shit. He's got a lot of haters. He he likes to go on there and fight with a lot of people. I go on there and talk politics, and then I'm out. As a person, honestly, I've hung out with John in California. He's a great guy. He's a funny guy. I don't think he's a bad guy, but once again, he's got a lot of enemies, and he actually, for some odd reason, enjoys arguing with those people.
Yeah, he loves that. He loves it, man.
We had him on once last year, and it was super entertaining. He's really the showman when he gets on these shows.
I'm gonna tell you. I went to California, and he invited me where he was like the closing act of a comedian show. And I'll be honest with you, I was backstage with him, man. I mean, I didn't pay for nothing. He bought everything. Had a great set, and then when it was over, we ended up at Corey Feldman's 50th birthday party. And look, I'm gonna tell you this. I shit you not, man.
What happened?
I'm gonna tell you.
Did he sing that song, Ascension Millennium? You ever heard that Corey Feldman song?
I don't know his song, but I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you, Corey Feldman is the nicest freaking guy you will ever meet. He literally, when you have a conversation with him, he leans in. I mean, he is like really. It was great, man. And what's his name? Bud Bundy from Married with Children was there. Got to meet him. But we had a good time, man. I mean, it was actually a really good time. I had a good time with it, man. We enjoyed it, and then that was it. Went back, and another thing. I was outside, and there's a bar outside. We was in this fancy. It's like a fancy place. I think Marilyn Manson did something there once or something. I don't know. Marilyn Monroe. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I'm out in the back where the bar is, and I look behind the bar. And there's a bartender, and I'm like, dude, you look familiar to me. And he looks at me and he says, you don't know anything that I've ever done. And it hit me like that. He was in a couple episodes of Eastbound and Down, and he was also in an episode of Workaholics. And I recognized him, and I told him, we got a picture together and stuff. But I mean, when you go to California, most of the actors in California that aren't the big actors, man, they're busting tables and serving you beers and stuff like that. I mean, it's a tough life there, man. It's tough.
So Richard, before we close this out real quick, I have to ask you one more question, okay?
Okay.
So overall, you see what's going on with the Trump campaign with JD Vance being weird. What's your take on JD Vance actually being weird? I really want that from because he's a military personnel, and you guys don't like to shit on each other. And he did go to war. What is your take on that, gentleman, and him calling out Tim Walz? Like, what's your take as a military personnel, man?
I think that what he should do is he should have said, thank Governor Walz for his service. And Governor Walz has also recently thanked JD Vance for his service.
Yeah, they both did.
I think that's what should that right there should have been it right there, because you got two people both served their country, both of them deployed. One deployed to Iraq for 6 months, one deployed to Italy and Turkey.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, is JD Vance weird? I mean, he wears this weird eye makeup shit. But other than that, the only thing about JD Vance,
he's pro-Jew, bro. He's not weird.
Yeah, but here, this is the thing. The thing about JD Vance that hurts him the most is that JD Vance a couple years ago even went so far as to call Donald Trump an opioid, which when you come from where I come from, that's the worst thing on the planet. The opioids have went through places like Southern West Virginia and Eastern Kentucky like you have never seen. There's not a single family where I come from that has been able to be untouched. Everybody has family members that have died because of opioids. And, JD Vance, it's no different. It's no different than like Ted Cruz. The same thing. Ted Cruz absolutely was against Donald Trump. But then the moment, and Donald Trump called his wife ugly, the moment that Donald Trump won, he ran straight down there and kissed his ass. Folks, let me tell you something. I don't make friends with people that throw stones at my family. I don't.
Good man.
Once you cross that line, you can go fuck yourself for life. And it just, for him to all of a sudden do a complete 180 with Donald Trump, that right there alone's like, what you can tell that the dude's doing it.
You've seen what he said though about why he did that though. He said because Trump is the most viable candidate at this point in time, and you just have to do it because Kamala Harris is so begone.
I just think that JD Vance, is looking for a way that he can absolutely elevate himself.
Well, of course, he's a white man.
I believe that JD Vance, I believe Lindsey Graham, I believe Ted Cruz. I believe that these are people that will absolutely swallow no matter what, as long as they feel that they can maybe move up in a certain spot.
Richard,
and here's another thing too that really kills me too, and it's wrong. I mean, look at the white nationalists. The moment that Donald Trump selected JD Vance, little Eddie Munster, Nick Fuentes.
What's wrong with Nick Fuentes, bro? Hang on. What's wrong with Nick Fuentes? I want to get into that then.
Well, Nick Fuentes has already said that he's jerking his support for Trump because JD Vance's wife is brown.
No, that's not true at all, sir. That is not true. No.
That is.
It goes deeper. It goes deeper than that. It goes way deeper than that. He's pulling it because his campaign advisors are pushing a more Jewish vibe into what's going on because JD Vance is backed up by the Jews and shit like that.
Well, Nick Fuentes is on video saying that
of course he is.
When he picks a vice president that's got a wife that is not white.
Yeah, because here's the funny thing is Nick Fuentes, what's that tell you, bro?
He's a white nationalist.
No, he's not. Nick Fuentes. What's that tell you? Richard, what's that tell you? Fuentes.
I got you, but Nick Fuentes is
he's
absolutely
a fucking mixed mutt. He's an idiot. He's 24 years old. He's trying to get views. He's an idiot. He's a fucking moron.
I agree with
that. He's not white. He's not white.
Yeah, I agree with that. But once again, he is a white nationalist.
Talking about it? You brought him up.
He is a white nationalist.
No, he's not. He's an idiot.
He's an idiot, but he's
not
also
a true white
he claims to
nationalist.
be a
He's
white
not
nationalist.
He's not so fucking like Nazi fucking walking around. He's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I agree.
He's garbage. He's not a white man. He's not.
Yep.
He's mixed. He's not white. He'll never be accepted as a Nazi. He's not white. He's a fucking loser. He's a white fucking 24-year-old trying to push some shit because he doesn't understand emotionally how to fucking comprehend shit. He's a loser. He's a moron.
Yep, I agree.
Don't fucking name his name again. He's a fucking idiot.
All right.
Never do that. He's not white. He's never been white. He never will be white. He's garbage.
Yep. All right. Sounds good.
All right.
All right, guys. Is that it?
Anyway.
I got to go, man. I got another thing I got to do in like an hour. So I got to go.
Yeah. Right. Richard, appreciate you, sir.
Thanks, man. Thanks,
appreciate you, Army Major.
You're a great man.
Thank you.
Served your country.
Thank you.
Good man.
All right, bye.
All right, bye-bye. I don't know.
I miss doing this show. Oh my god,
this show's crazy, bro. Yeah, I don't know.
I was tuned out because I was arguing with the chat. So there's something that
I went in the chat too. We were talking about what's the actual worst Corey Feldman song. That's like a real debate.
Corey Feldman was tough, bro.
Yeah, so
Millennium. You gotta go watch that shit, man. It's so bad.
He came to Missouri. He came with Bones and fucking what's his faces.
We can address this for the people in the chat who are worried about this. Go
ahead.
But so you know that comedy shaman dude who was going to do our show like a year ago?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
So he did a stream, or rather, Pod Awful, who's a former guest of ours, did a stream.
Yeah,
and it got flagged for inappropriate content or something.
Ooh.
And the day before, there's a guy called Honk the Clown who was also going to do a stream about a year ago.
Great man. Yeah.
And me and Jesse were talking about it, and I was like, oh yeah, like this dude did a stream the day before this on August 2nd, or I don't know what day it was, but he had mentioned like he was talking about Jesse and Comedy Shaman, how they're bad and all this stuff. So we were going back and forth in DMs about it, and I was like, oh yeah, like the next day his stream got struck down, and I was like, oh yeah. I said it was probably like the people in his crew, basically Victoria and Honk and all these guys.
Yeah.
So I insinuated, I don't know. I also said I had no proof. So we were just bullshitting back and forth about it. And then now they're all freaking out. Like, yeah. So Honk doesn't like.
Are they informants? So. Are they informants, bro? I'm not. I know. I'm starting to wonder. Are they informants?
No, it was something that came up on the stream. So I just pointed out to him about it when his thing got struck. And then he had told me the two of them are also Dabble Strawian go into Spurgtopia Discord VC together, time out and deafen others when they join. They were all in there at the same time during my stream the other day, possibly one person connected, still looking. So then he said, why do you think it's them? I said, they mentioned you on this. I have no proof. They just into stuff like that, gay ops. And I assumed the Honk dude was Shaman's dad or something. This was right before the fallout. And so I don't know what deafened or any of this Spurgtopia shit is. This is all gay stuff that they're all into. So, but now they're freaking out thinking I did something, but
nah, I don't know, bro.
I don't know.
Maybe you did do something. I don't know. I haven't been around too much. Maybe Chow. Maybe maybe you are the op, bro. I don't know at this point. Maybe you are the.
Yeah, I'm reading the DMs right here.
Master.
So.
I don't even understand anything you said about that.
I don't know.
I know. It's the context of what I'm reading as I'm telling you guys. It's hard to portray because there's a link, but
will you bring this up with Chad tonight? Because I know Chad.
Chad actually.
Wait. I super chatted to Chad for the first time in like maybe a year. and he's like, "Oh, your boy Chow's coming on tonight." So I got to hear this, man. What's going on, bro?
Dude, we do have to do a show with like on chat, like on his channel though, like us, like 3 and chat. We got to do that. We gotta get
3, us 3 in chat. Chow's gonna have to negotiate that, bro.
So Chad,
in his, you know, in DMs and stuff. So
yeah, man.
Yeah, so Ozone's on it. Chad, I've been canceled from Chad's show.
No, Chad was very adamant about having Chow on tonight about Ray.
Yeah, we're doing it tomorrow because Chad had a little bit of an operation this afternoon, so he can't. But
what do you have? What do you have? A brain tumor?
The cavity,
no, just a cavity filled. So
yeah, I think he has a lot of
cavity. I'm hip today. It's cavity.
Victoria, I can share the DMs with you, but dude, yeah, I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about.
Crazy about all this crap. I just looked at the chat.
I'm not, but she sent like 10 messages. I'm trying to catch up on just to clear the air because I don't want any bad karma, bad blood between anyone. So I'm trying to set the record straight with her in any way possible. So, but yeah, she said I accused her. I said. I did bring her and Honk up in reference to a stream that Honk did. That was, let me pull it up on what date, but it's not a big deal. I'm
drinking backwater, boys. Where are we getting at this point?
Yeah, and sorry I was late, man. But
no,
I'm glad Army Major
that was intense. That guy's intense, man. Like,
yeah, no, he is. Like, I had to disagree with him some points. Like, I don't know.
Look,
I don't know.
The major issue I actually have with them after the whole thing is how you can be like coal mining, this and that, and vote Democrat because they're all pro global warming, pro climate change. They want to get rid of the entire coal industry. So I don't understand how you could even fathom voting for them. In that case,
I
So,
don't get it, man. I don't know. Like I said, first interview, I was a little more like, oh yes, sir. Like, let me not interrupt you. Let me placate to you. But this time I was like, let's be a little more progressive.
Dude, I wanted to ask him about all that stuff about I know there's a good actually compound media with Kumia on it. They talk about it. All of the people that have criticized or attacked the Clintons over the year who mysteriously disappear.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I wanted to start asking him about that stuff.
No, I told him wasn't JD Vance backed by the Clinton Foundation? Not the Clinton Foundation, but the backers who backed Clinton. First of all, prove it, bro. What the fuck?
The whole thing with JD Vance commie shirt, dude. I had a commie shirt. I used to wear it as a goof.
Yeah. My dad wears one for fucking 4th of July. It's a funny gag.
I know, so I can't get worked up about that. That's just stupid,
That's just retarded shit. I get that. It's funny.
And imagine somebody like that, did that against a Democrat. This guy would be railing against them. Oh, this is stupid. The guy's just wearing a shirt. That's how he would respond. So,
I don't know,
but he's intense, dude. He's I don't know if I could take that being around that guy in everyday life. Wow. Yeah.
Anyway, Chow, do you have any last remarks to say, sir, before we end the show?
Hey, Chow, who's the next guy who's going to get injured on the Vikings? How about
that? Yeah. Real quick, bro.
Yeah, the Addison thing. I mean, hopefully it's good. But
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I mean, someone DM'd me a picture of the DMs I was reading. They don't have the full context of it, but yeah, they're upset that they think I said.
What'd you do?
I said they were probably the tards striking your channel, and they're mad about that, I guess. But it was also after he had said to me, he had said the two of them and also Dabble Story and go into this Discord and they do all this shit. So, I don't know. It was just a little.
Are you Dabble Story cool?
Me and Dabble, I don't know who it is. So,
are you guys cool though? Are you like friendly with that persona or that vibe?
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
okay. There's no issues with that then.
Yeah, we'll get him on. Send him the link.
I don't know the link. You sent him the link. I don't know.
There's a lot of Corey Feldman chat.
Chow, you've been canceled from the chat show.
Dude, we we got to get Corey Feldman on him here.
I tried, bro. I hit him up. I went to Missouri. He had a show here. I went to his show. I was like, hey, I'm like people. I was like, hey, I'm like the like thing. I'm like, they're like, oh, you can't talk to Corey. I was like, okay. I tried to like be like, you know, paparazzi. I was like, hey, can I get an interview with him or can I like be around him? And they're like, no, you gotta like back off. I was like, okay. Like I can only they don't allow that shit, bro. It's really tough. I don't know. But
someone reached out to me who knows him, and I told him to
what?
DM you. Yeah.
What really?
Because I talked
to him. What do you mean? Like, actually serious right now? Because I'd be down to talk to Corey because I've tried hitting him up multiple times. He came here in Missouri recently, bro.
Yeah, I know. He.
By the way,
hang on, David, hang on.
I have a huge surround
round. What are you saying?
Sorry.
So you're good, bro. Hang on one second.
I'm blasting Corey Feldman as soon as we get off this jet. Yes, I am. Yeah.
So what's with Corey, bro? Can I book him for this?
Yeah, did Dick Fitzwell hit you up? You said he knows him or something.
Who? Dick what?
Dick Fitzwell on Twitter.
Twitter. No, Dick, where you at, bro? I'm waiting, bro.
But
yeah.
Hey, Victoria, I'll send you over the part that I saw the screenshots that you posted in Discord, and yeah, that is part of the conversation. But I'll send you the other part that said where he said, yeah, the two of them were doing all this shit. So it was kind of in response to that. So, but yeah, I said probably. I don't know.
Hey, who knows? We'll see.
And
anyway,
it was also in reference to another video.
Mayor, did Oliver Closeoff hit you up?
Who?
Oliver Closeoff. It's like a bad phone call.
No.
Yeah. So.
Anyway, gentlemen, I appreciate you guys coming on. Richard Ojeda, because I'm not white, so I'm not gonna say Ojeda. We appreciate you coming on, sir, and talking about your viewpoints on Kamala Harris and Trump and all that great shit you had to say about the minors.
I'm staying off the next time that guy comes on. I can't deal with that.
I don't know. But either way, everyone watching, thank you so much. It's been a while. I know it's been a long time, but we appreciate you watching us because we love you guys and you love us. So till the next time, all of us guys here, you know, we're just gents doing our thing. And till then, next time, right, boys?
Till next time. Peace.
Next time, peace.